Jeremiah Lanphier.
Who really, when we're thinking about 1857, we need to home in on. Can you tell me anything about Jeremiah Lanphier?
Well, Jeremiah Lanphier was a great man of God. We know the year he was born, we know the year that he died. On his gravestone in a park cemetery in America, it mentions that he was part of the layman's revival, that he instigated it and that he founded it.
He was a successful businessman, certainly for a period of time, but I think by the time he became a lay worker in the church, at the Dutch Reformed Church, maybe he'd given up work, stopped work, he certainly became a believer in 1832. He went along to Charles Finney. Charles Finney had a church in Broadway in New York, not that I've been to New York, and that's where he became a believer. And he used to spend his time, even before he came to work for the Dutch Reformed Church, going out, giving out tracts and talking to people about the Lord. But his work meant that he basically went out into the tenements and out to the houses, knocking and inviting people to church. Didn't get much of a response, did he?
Well, he didn't, unfortunately. In many respects, it could be said it's the same today, if those who have been involved in door-to-door work. But he went out in faithfulness, sowing the seeds of the good news to go and, as Jesus said, go into all the world and to preach the gospel. And he went. He wanted to tell people about the love of Christ. He wanted to tell them that Jesus died for them and that he rose again and that we can have life and have it abundantly in Christ. And he was faithful to do that as a missionary.
Okay. But he was still frustrated, and people weren't coming to church. He tried printing leaflets, he tried organising clubs, and people didn't come. And so one particular day he went back, I'm told, at lunchtime, really frustrated, crying out to God what he should do, and the only thing that could come to his mind was to call a prayer meeting.
Yes, I suppose we could say that he had a divine dissatisfaction. He was so fed up, spiritually speaking, with what he was seeing that, let's resort to prayer. Let's have these prayer meetings and invite people to come.
They didn't come initially, did they? Because initially he gave out the leaflets inviting people to the prayer meeting. First prayer meeting came, it was due in the September of 1857, and at the appointed time he opened the door to go into the room where it was going to be, and it was empty.
Yes.
Not a single person had come, but he still got down on his knees and began to pray. And for the hour of the prayer meeting, I think by the end of the prayer meeting, there were how many people?
There was about 5 or 6 people there. And so what started off as originally nobody started to snowball. And as the weeks went on and the months went on, more and more people came along. And actually they had to hold, or they moved places to various locations, because the church and then the various halls weren't large enough. And then these prayer meetings sprang and got bigger and bigger and went to other locations.
One of the things I like about the story of Jeremiah Lanphier is that he didn't set out to do anything other than call it one prayer meeting. He never in his wildest dreams had the idea that it would grow and grow. And you've got a quote in one of your books of a man who came from Nebraska, and he said it's a distance of 2,000 miles, and it's a 2,000 miles of prayer meeting. And what he was saying was that people in America had caught the vision to pray, and everywhere people were praying.
Yes, well, it's quite incredible. Like I said, they sat down to pray for 1 hour, which was their lunch break, and people could come and go as they please. And most of the time they were only allowed to pray for 5 minutes, no longer. In some places it was just 3 minutes, and to give opportunity for other people to pray. And I think most of them prayed heartfelt prayers, really heartfelt prayers, because they were desperate.
I think the thing about Jeremiah Lanphier that impresses me most is he didn't seek glamour and fame, and when the revival was over, he just seemed to disappear. It's an amazing story. He didn't go on to be a big pulpit preacher and write loads of books. He just seemed to disappear.
Yeah, that is quite incredible that he just literally, as you say, he disappeared, and so little is known about him. What happened after that, we really just, for many, we just don't know.
Well, we don't know, but what we do know is that he went home to glory, and when he went home to glory, I'm quite sure that the Lord said, "Well done, good and faithful servant."